You are now listening to the sultry sounds of Soul Pumpkin Pumpkin on the 50th episode of the Super Agile Bros Podcast. Good day, evening, morning to our Super Agile family. This is your boy, Bradston on the mic. You already know what it is. And welcome to another episode of Super Agile Bros. Well, this isn't just another episode of Super Agile Bros. This is a very special, beautiful, magnanimous, big-worded episode y'all gonna love. First, I'm gonna
$5 episode.
A $5 episode. I'm gonna introduce the brothers, and I'm gonna let y'all know what's going on after that. So first, my brother Kyle, welcome. How are you doing, sir? I heard your cackle in the background. How are you doing, sir?
I'm here cackling.
Represent.
I'm feeling good, man.
Represent.
$5 in quarters, rolled up.
Let's go.
In a sock.
In stock. In
a sock.
Oh, in a sock. I thought you were saying it's Super Agile Bro stocks. You know,
Hey.
always plummeting. We're always going lower. It crashed again. How could it crash again?
Get your Super Agile Bros coin.
Sap coin. Get that, son.
Hey, it's got a ring to it.
Yes, and also has a ring to a triangle, a pyramid.
It has a pyramid to it.
A pyramid structure situated with it. And of course, you hear the brother, Steve. Steve, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm great. I am sipping my still water and enjoying the beautiful sunshine after a stormy day yesterday.
Oh, really? Storming.
Oh, yeah.
Down.
My power went out. It was actually really funny. I came home and we were like, oh, it's about to start raining. And in the hallway, in our apartment complex, the power went out. No rain, no thunder, just winked out.
Oh, snap.
And it was out for like hours.
Oh, my. Hey, man, bring you back to your ancestors, how they used to live.
Yeah, I read on my Kindle like a plebeian.
Like our ancestors did in 1940s. They read on the Kindle.
Yeah.
Look here, you plebeian.
Dark times.
Literally dark times. So, for those who are listening, if you've gotten this far, you're in for a treat. Today, this marks a special day. This marks episode 50 in our canon recordings. Okay, Episode 50 in our uncanon, non-canonical timeline, whatever you want to call it. This is episode 51, but in our canon that is Super Agile Bros, this is episode.
It's
50.
episode 50, but it's our 51st episode.
Canonical episode 50. So it's going to be a little bit special. I always say this is going to be a little bit special today. But really, honestly, today is going to be cool because in the last 50 episodes or 51 episodes per se, we have had the opportunity to grow our family, our Super Agile family, our Super Agile brothers,
family.
Our Super Agile sisters. And we wanted to make this episode an ode to y'all. So we actually reached out to our Discord community and we asked them to share, a ask me anything type question and a video for us to watch, which we did previously, for us to talk about and to maybe even, one day partake in whatever that video may be. So today's going to be a lot of discussing, sharing, talking, and a lot of the content for today has been derived from our community, which is the best community here on the interwebs. Shout out to the Discord peoples.
I love how weirdly vague you were when you said we partake of the video. It's a trailer. They sent us trailers.
I'll explain it.
It's a sample.
I'm trying not to be too long-winded. So I just was like...
And we posted it on Facebook, too.
Oh, yeah. Facebook people. Shout out to you, too. Hey. We got everybody in the building. Yo, all the social networks. The boy Zuck, he liked our Facebook page, so go out there and join him.
And when he did, we lost $1 billion.
People.
He actually sent in a response to our survey too.
He did. You Zuck, but I'm sorry. So yeah, let's get into it. I mean, before we get into it, and get into the community questions. I did want to share, I guess, a moment, but I want to ask a question really for the brothers. what has been your favorite moments here in the last 50 episodes, or favorite conversation, or favorite, offline conversation? What has brought you back to the 50 episodes? What has stuck as a core memory for you in the last 50 episodes? I could start because I know you guys are probably thinking about it. I think honestly, for me, it was really honestly episode 0. I think for those who haven't listened to episode 0, don't. But for those who have, you'll understand that there's a reason it's not canon. It's because literally it was not a plan to actually be recorded, like in a real sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like
or
shared with anybody ever. We literally were just like, hey, we're thinking about doing this podcast. Let's go ahead and like record an episode, or just do a test recording. Honestly, it was just, let's make sure.
It was a test recording that became a test upload that became test, editing and polishing.
It was literally the MVP on accident. Like,
it was the proof. Yeah.
And literally, like, if you watch that episode or listen to it, you kind of hear me ask the most out of pocket question. What does it mean to be a man? It was literally just a way to get us talking so we could test our audio. And we just kept talking. And then we talked about Zelda. We talked about how Borderlands 3 is trash. And we just kept on going.
And now we're still talking. To this day, we are talking
about Borderlands 3 being trash. So, I don't know. For me, it was special because it was like, it kind of just showed that we have something special, like we, even when we're not trying, we somehow make a thing that has impact and meaning. So I don't know. For me, that was a special moment. That was day 0, and I'm proud of who we are as a brotherhood and what we've done so far. So what about y'all, fellas? What about y'all?
So I don't know if I had like a particular moment, but I think the closest thing to that would probably be if I had to like pick out an episode, it was the strategy and planning that went into us watching the Tomorrow War and then talking about it. Like, because episode 0 wasn't planned, but I felt like that one was like one of the first ones we were like, okay, this is the thing we're going to do. We're going to meet up and talk about it, and we're going to make it like this big thing. And then like that was a super fun way to experience something that I otherwise wouldn't have, because I had heard about that movie, but I wasn't going to watch it. And like if I was going to watch it, I wasn't going to talk about it with anybody.
I wasn't going to tell nobody.
Yeah, so it was like the best of all the worlds that I didn't know that I needed. And I was like, okay, I look forward to doing this again with something else that I don't particularly care about. Because it like, I don't know, it was a fresh experience in every facet of the world. I mean, I've talked to you guys all the time anyway about random stuff, but this time it hit a little bit different because it was like, it stretched a little bit beyond ourselves. And then that was the first time we made like a reckless thumbnail. We put together all this stuff, to put on YouTube and Spotify. And I don't know, it felt real, I guess, at that point. And I was like, if these dudes, if they're in, if the bros are down with it, then hey, let's row this boat. Let's see how far we go.
And I think it's kind of funny because that's actually very indicative of our relationship in general with each other, because I think the way that even came up was that we were just, in the earlier episode, we were just talking about stuff. And then I said, did y'all see Tomorrow World or Tomorrow War? And y'all were like, better name. I was like, yo, son, we got to watch that. And so we could talk about it on the podcast. And just like our personal Slack channel that we have where we just share random videos and then we discuss them, like one person finds a thing and I think Steve shared a few videos in our Slack channel today or when I was out of town that, or like Kyle, it doesn't even matter, either one of them. Like I would never probably watch half of those videos, but because they shared it, and they're talking about it, I'm like, ooh, I want to see what this video is, and then we're all talking about it. So I can feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you take the most. I feel I'm in a few like online like chat room communities, I guess, like Discords and Slacks, and I feel like at any given point, there's usually like 3 people who are actually participating in a conversation, and so the Slack that I have with you guys is just those three people. It's us. It's the same three people every time.
The key contributors are like, let's leave this Discord and start our own Discord. Hilarious.
Yeah, let's just kick everyone out of our Super Agile Bros Discord. It'll just be us, like it was meant to be.
It's just it's the private chat where you just like you just,
just stretch the private chat to the whole server.
Yeah, man. Nah, I could feel that, Kyle. 100%. How about you, Steve-O?
Man, I don't know why you guys keep ragging on episode 0. I stand by episode 0. I think that is exemplary work. I think we did a good job.
We uploaded it for a reason.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I also think that it shows maybe a side of us in our conversations that sometimes can be maybe a little more lacking in the later episodes. So I want to get back to the spirit of episode 0. You know what I don't stand by? The aliens episode. That junk is so off the wall. Like, it was a good conversation. It was fun. But like, we've never done anything remotely like that since.
We learned.
Yeah.
He was like, "Are aliens real?" I'm like, "Brad, you can't ask that on a podcast. What are you doing?"
Hey, man, I was trying to see where we'd go, man. You know, it was early, experimental days.
We went where no man has gone
Very
before.
experimental.
Yeah, because those first like 5 to 10 episodes were just us, just like, hey, let's do a like origin story episode. Let's talk about aliens. Let's talk about a movie. Let's talk about, because like episode 0 and episode 1 are very similar, you know. Yeah. Because it's like, oh, let's just finish the conversation we didn't finish.
Yeah.
Episode 0, part 2.
You know, we're definitely...
the first couple of episodes, we were legitimately stumbling in the dark and falling over, bumping pinky toes on the sides of end tables. Like it was a rough time.
I think, but to answer the actual question, I think the parts I enjoy the most, I don't know if it's a specific episode, but I really enjoy roasting media together with you guys. Like, I don't want this to be like a roast podcast where all we do is find things we don't like and talk trash and stuff like that. But doing it as we do it, you know, occasionally, even if it's not especially if it's not a whole episode, I really just like roasting randomly. You know, little tidbits here and there.
Yeah, I'm all about that roasting life.
That's my favorite. I'm just a negative person deep down.
No, I feel you. I just would always like, I know I could be terrible. You know, like I remember in 7th grade, there's this girl who, or maybe it was 8th grade. There's this girl who always used to like clown on me. She was like, "Oh," because I was short. Like I was pretty short. I was like the second shortest of the shortest person in my grade. She's like, "Oh, you so small. I could put you in a Pringles can. I could." And she'd just be going at me. You know, got him. You know, this is Atlanta, so people had no like chill, right? And she was a little bit larger. Let me just put it that way. Mm-hmm. And I just never, you know, like I'm whatever. I wasn't ever trying to like. She was mean to me. I'm a jokey person, but I'm not mean to people. But she just kept going in on me.
I mean, she had a crush on you.
Maybe. And I don't remember the exact joke. I used to know what it was, but I said something like, "Okay, that's why you need to keep eating them sandwiches." And I just went in on her, and she just started crying. I made one joke, and I was like, "Ooh, I can never go that hard again." Like, like it was a good joke, whatever it was. I recall I used to tell this story to friends, but I can't remember what it was. But from that day, I've been like, I can't roast people too hard because
if you let it build up.
She was still a friend, and making her cry was like the worst day of my life. One of the worst days.
I mean, you're still talking about it, so yeah, it deeply touched you.
It's a core trauma.
It's a red marble.
So let me ask y'all this: what is your favorite episode, like, of our recording? Like,
oh man,
hands down, like, what's your favorite? I actually have two. The first one would be League of Legends. Arcane. I really enjoyed that Arcane episode because
it was a good one.
It was deep, but it kind of like you were saying, Steve, like you like when we roast. I just like anytime we're enthusiastic about something, And sometimes that's in the roasting aspect of a thing. But I felt like we were all very enthusiastic in the same way about Arcane, about how much we loved it. And it was like, it's very, not very often that I feel like I have a conversation with somebody where they're as deep into something as I am, you know? And I feel like that was a time where all three of us were like equally as like invested in Arcane, you know?
Yeah.
And we all dug it. We all cared about like, oh, what is the implications of this? Oh, who are these characters? Why does it matter? It was to me definitely one of my favorite episodes to have with y'all. One of my favorite conversations. And then I would say my runner-up would be the Bug Snacks episode because because it's one of those episodes where like Steve wasn't able to record for whatever reason, and me and Kyle just happened to be playing Bug Snacks because we both were on it, and it was like, well, what can we talk about? Let's talk about Bug Snacks since we both playing it. And I don't know, to me, Bug Snacks is such a special experience and a special game, and I feel like that's another one of those conversations where we were it was like we got deeper and deeper and more enthusiastic the more we talked about it. We started to realize the layers because you knew more information than I did on something, and I knew some more information on this, and then we looked at the Wikipedia and da-da-da-da. I don't know. I like deep conversations where, you know, we're just having a good time, and those two were definitely stand out for me.
I'll go next. So I really enjoyed our conversation about our first anime. And pretty much all of our anime conversations, just because I've kind of mentioned this a little bit before, but there's nobody that I've been able to like talk to at length about anime, even though I've been interested in it. And like this has kind of reinvigorated that side of my life, being part of the podcast where you guys are like super knowledgeable and intensely like into anime. I won't use the W word, but
this man said we're intensely into anime.
Intensely. It's intense for me. Maybe other people not so much, but like
he called us lowercase weebs. Like that's what he was just like.
This man called us double V weebs.
Veebs. But you inspire me to want to know more about it, but at the same time I am intimidated to even try to dive in, because whenever you guys mention something new, I'm both intrigued and like scared that I don't have enough time to actually watch it, because it's 1,000 episodes and it's got a manga and I can't pronounce half of the things that it's a whole new world to me. And it's like, it's really cool. And so finding out, you know, where you guys started wasn't too far away from where I started was, you know, it was nice to find that out, because you never know, you know, like you get somebody start off on a really high level anime, and I'm over here watching Pokemon, you know, but you guys kind of did. But anyway, I'm rambling a little bit now. But that's my favorite episode, I think, is because I learned.
Let me stop you there. Sorry, I just picked a spot.
It worked. Done. No. Yeah, I was done. Yeah,
okay.
Hey man, it's never too late to be a true anime fan.
That's yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, it's got to be true at some point, right? Right. So my favorite episode, I think, I also like the anime episodes, and the Arcane episode. I want to say one of my favorite episodes was the Tomorrow War episode, actually.
Hey.
And I don't know if it's because I like the movie, or I did like the movie. Let me not come out here and be like, it was my favorite. But it just seemed like the movie fostered a lot of really interesting conversation with you guys. And we all had points that like stood out to us, and questions we had, and different interpretations. And it wasn't like when we were roasting Avatar, when like, you know, we were really just focused on how bad it was and why it was bad and in what ways it was bad. We could, you know, it was like hate watching it. But for Tomorrow War, we were just enjoying ourselves and like, oh, I remember how cool I thought the monster design was, and I brought it up in the podcast, and I was able to like explain why I thought it was cool. And we talked about paradoxes, and we talked about little not loopholes, plot holes.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a fun deep dive. I think it's one of our best deep dives.
It was the beginning. It was the deep dive of all deep dives. It started it all.
Yeah, set the bar.
Probably also our least, like, I don't want to say controversial because I don't think anyone is surprised that Avatar is bad, but maybe our least, like, memey deep dives
of a movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. 2 things. One, Kyle, it is definitely never too late to get into anime. My father-in-law has been going extra hard on anime as of late. Like, I told him about Promised Neverland. I showed him, what else did I show him? One Punch Man. Like, he's been really, like, absorbing anime, and we talk about it. Like, he'll finish it. So, it's definitely never too late. And he's like, oh.
That's cool.
And he's watching stuff I've never seen before. And he's telling me about it. I'm like, what?
He's becoming a connoisseur. You got to watch out. He's going to be a double Veeb soon.
The student has become the master.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, wow, I haven't watched that. Wow, okay.
You mean the student has become the sensei?
The sensei.
Oh, that.
Senpai.
The senpai.
The senpai. Notice me.
It's happened.
And then the other thing is, speaking about the spirit of Tomorrow War, after we finish the set of movies and shows that we're planning to talk about on the podcast, I have a movie that I want to petition for us to watch together called Moonfall. And I'm pretty sure it came out this year. I watched it on the plane recently. I just went out of town recently, and it was like a 3-hour trip flight. And I was like, let me check out this Moonfall. I love sci-fi. Man, that movie goes places. And I really would love to sit down and talk to y'all about Moonfall because there's so much to say. I don't even want to talk about it, but other than saying, like, it's a full movie with a lot to talk about and a lot of implications that I think would be as fun to talk about as Tomorrow War. So, just putting that out there. Moonfall. Holla.
That's a bold claim you're making.
What about Sunshine, dude?
Sunshine is still the best movie that nobody's ever seen. Like, I mean, 100%.
When are we going to talk about Sunshine?
I don't know.
Let him on the list.
I don't know. I feel like Sunshine is a movie I just want people to experience. I don't want to talk about it. I just want you to keep hearing us talk about Sunshine and watch it on your own.
That's how I feel about some of the things that you have brought up for us to talk about. I'm like, I feel like people should just watch it and not hear me talk about it.
Like what?
Why not both?
Like what?
I don't want to say anything because I don't want to increase
the likelihood.
Increase hype for something that I don't believe in.
Wait, is it something we've talked about on the podcast?
I'm sure we've mentioned it, but it's not something that we've.
Okay, it's not something
about.
we've covered. Okay.
No.
That's fair. I mean, Sunshine is definitely on the list, but it's just Moonfall is very like recent, and I think Sunshine is just a great movie. Moonfall is a movie where you'll kind of be like, oh man, I have feelings, like, and I'd love to see where y'all fall within the spectrum, because I think
within the Moonfall spectrum,
like I think there's a lot of different ways you could take that movie, and I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to speak too much about it because I don't want to give y'all expectations about what it is or isn't, if it's good, bad, or indifferent. So yeah, man, I mean, the last 50 episodes have been great. And I'd love for us to talk a little bit more about it. But let's get to the boys, the brothers and sisters themselves, our fans, our family, and some of the stuff that they wanted to ask us. So just for y'all to kind of get an idea of what we're going to be doing. So we got some people who shared some questions with us that they'd like us to ask ourselves and respond to. So we're going to go through those. And then at the end, they've also shared a trailer with us for some type of media that they might think interests us, and we're going to talk about it, and maybe in the future we'll go deeper dive on that thing. And if you're listening, you probably won't have we'll definitely share the links to the trailers in the descriptions, but if you're watching this on the video version, my hope is that I'll actually splice in some of the footage from these trailers so you can kind of follow along with us as we talk about it. But anywho,
nice.
So let's get it cracking. So our first set of questions comes from the boy Soy. Soy. Shout out to Soy, one of the OGs. We've been playing. Well, we play Fortnite. I think me, you, and Soy. When I say you, Kyle,
you,
and Soy. We play Fortnite. That's kind of how you met Soy, right?
Through that, and he also follows a couple of same Twitch streamers, I think.
So y'all met in the chat?
Yeah.
Organically.
Really? Organically?
Fancy meeting you here.
I'm almost certain. Yeah.
That's wild.
Hilarious.
I did not
I don't know if I can just name drop a streamer.
I mean, unless you're like, I don't know. It's on you. I don't know what the streamer is. So
I'm pretty sure. All right, I'll just say I'm pretty sure we met in Dynamics stream.
Oh, okay. That makes sense because you probably met Dynamic at the same time, around the same time, huh?
Around the same time, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense because we were all playing Fortnite when it first came out, and had no clue what was happening. Hot dropping, getting murdered. It's different days these days, but
we're on that OG tip, man.
OG, and Soy's still doing his thing, So represent to the boy Soy. So Soy has a question for us, and y'all already know the question, but I'll share it for our listeners. He asks us, what are our short, medium, and okay, let's try this again. What are the short, medium, long-term plans / goals for this community? And this community, as I'm assuming he's talking about Discord, right? Or sounds right? Or the Super Agile Bro community in general? Right? Yeah, right?
I don't know what else
the
that
YouTube
would be.
Community.
The Twitter community. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I'd love to hear what y'all's thoughts are. We've talked about different things in the future. So let's start with our short-term plans or goals. What are some of our short-term? What do y'all have as far as goals?
So I think we've accomplished like one of the short-term goals with this episode, and that is like getting our community to be directly a part of our week to week in some capacity, or our episodes. And so we only posted the survey a week or two ago, and thanks everybody for the responses, by the way. And so I think that's a short-term goal for me, is to build that engagement, if you will, within our community. And just to see what people like, what they're thinking about, what they're talking about. Stuff like that.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, definitely. Community engagement, involvement. Like, not just like on be our fans of our show, but genuinely like, hey, like, impact the experience, Because we definitely are making this for ourselves, to be real. But I think as the show has grown, we've continually had discussions about how to make it as great for other people as possible. And of course we want our community to grow, but like, this is for us and y'all, so
for ourselves with you.
Yes, for ourselves. We are the community together.
By myself together.
Yeah. I'll say this, one of the short-term goals I feel like personally, and I think we've discussed this as a group, is genuinely, I just want our Discord to feel like a place where people can commune, like an actual community, not just a fan club, like none of us really care to have fans. I think we just want to have a place where we can talk with our friends, and we talk about games and movies, and a place where we can share that interesting thing that we just saw. And I think we've kind of reached that point where like the community is kind of, I'd say, like thriving on its own, like we're definitely the main contributors, to the Discord and to our community. But it's cool. I'm always excited when I'm just reading conversations between other people, and like maybe we're not necessarily directly engaged with it. So that's definitely a short-term goal, to continue to grow the community, just to be friends with each other,
Yeah, that's kind of where I stand, actually. So I'm especially, I would say, fan adverse. I am not interested in like the fame or anything. I'm really just here to hang out with you guys, and and that extends as well to the Discord. So like, what I enjoy is I mean, basically what I do in the Slack with just the three of us is, let me share something that we've talked about or something I think you guys would think is interesting or something that I just think is really interesting. I just want to gush about. But now I can do that with more people who are going to be, if this podcast is me and you guys talking about the things that we like and people like the podcast, then it stands to reason that I could talk about the things I like with also those people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And there's been some good discussions. I don't know I don't know what it would look like if like a lot more people were in the or in the Discord, and if a lot more people were active.
Mm-hmm.
If it would be maybe fewer like deep conversations. It kind of feels like sometimes it just turns into one-on-ones between random people, which is great for me at least. So I enjoy it. I have a good time.
Yeah.
That's my short-term goal. It's pretty much been realized.
Yes. So essentially, I think most of our short-term goals for the community have already been kind of reached. I think when we first came up with the idea of just doing the Discord, I don't really know what our plan was other than people were sharing, commenting on our YouTube videos, and some of our friends would reach out to us individually to talk about episodes. So we were like, hey, we should probably make a place where we can talk about it as a group. So we don't.
It's like a hub, for the community.
Mm-hmm. So, what our plan was beyond that was just not to have trolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
no trolls, please.
So medium standpoint, and I'll share this, and I'd love to hear from a medium term goal is I'd like to see the community continue to grow, but at a very I don't want to say at a steady rate, but not 100 people. I just want people who want to be there, who want to be a part of the community. And I also would love to dub some of y'all as moderators, so that we have even more support. So if our community were to grow larger than what it is now, we already have people who know what's going on and who want to support the community in a meaningful way. So I think that's my medium term goal as far as community goes, and just continuing to grow the short term. But just to have people who know, who want to support and protect our community,
Yeah. I agree. I definitely want to see some growth too, because I feel like there's definitely more people out there who would enjoy just being part of the community and engaging with the awesome people that we already have in there. But I definitely agree, to grow at a rate that makes sense, because we're still figuring this thing out, So to just open it up might not be the best thing, but maybe, I don't know. So, but I definitely want more people to engage with us and experience, what the Super Agile Bros community, because we have so many really cool things. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, is that some of the stuff that we engage with is because somebody else posted it, something that we would have never seen on our own. And I just want to share that with as many people as we possibly can. And so that's a medium goal for me, is just to continue to reach the masses.
Reach the people. It was a gumball.
It was a gumball.
Steve, what about you? Medium term.
I think a medium goal for me would be for my friends to become friends with each other. And so I see a little bit of that happening. To clarify, I have moved around a couple times, and I therefore have circles of friends across the U.S., across the Southeast, I guess. And they don't know each other for the most part. And so I think a place like this is really cool, because my friends can meet your friends, and they can meet each other and maybe find new friends, find new people that are interested in niche things that they are interested in. So right now, a lot of the conversations that we have will include one or more of you and I, the three of us. Whereas I would like to see maybe some more conversations without us, where they just go off and they have fun, and I don't feel the need to be the social O-ring, between two people who don't know each other.
This man just said the
Conversations.
social O-ring. Oh my goodness. That's the most engineering. Yeah, so Steve basically wants our community to be the Tinder of friendships, where we're just matchmaking people with each other. Swiping. Swipe right to find new friends.
Intentionally excluding people from conversation.
That's a great idea for a bot we should introduce to the Discord.
Tinder bot?
You should get a swipe bot going.
Swipe bot. Do you want to be friends with this person? No.
There's like a channel that just replays. It just says, "Oh, Brad swiped left on Kyle," like as loud as it tags everybody.
They've just become friends.
Which direction is the good direction?
That's what I'm saying. Nah, they'll figure it out.
I think right is the good direction.
I don't know.
Oh, dang it!
Right?
I assume.
Swipe right.
In a Western society,
you throw to the right. Left is tossing. Right is like, I don't know. That brings me to my personal long-term goal for the community, is that our community will become like a haven for the adult nerd. And when I say nerd, I mean the gamer, the anime enthusiast, the video, the just tech enthusiast, like the people who are like us, who are looking for friendships and other like-minded people to like participate in their favorite hobbies with. Because like my really long-term goal would be to one day have it just to be normal for people to like set up like gameplay squad up in our community without our intervention, Yeah. Like, hey y'all, I'm about to play Sea of Thieves. Sorry. I almost laughed. Hey y'all, I'm about to play Halo Infinite. I want to get a squad, run some, whatever. And some people are like, yeah, I'm down. I'll be free. I'm free in a few hours. You know what I'm saying? For that just to happen. And for like it to just feel natural. Like, hey, like anybody want to go see the new Dragon Ball Z movie who's in the area, or want to watch it, stream Netflix watch party. You know what I'm saying? Like those things to organically happen, and for the community to feel like an actual community of people who enjoy each other and want to kind of engage with each other. Not just in the text format that is Discord, but really in a like, hey, like let's watch movies and let's, I don't know. I'd love to see it grow into a very organic friendship generation community, kind of like you, Steve, in the long term. But I'd love to see people playing games together, watching stuff together, and of course, here we go. I want to have the first ever public SAB Summit, the Super Agile Bros Summit, where we bring all of our community together in one place and we just, enjoy each other's company, eat food, play games, goof off, explore wherever location we're at together. I don't know. It'd be really cool to do something crazy like that one day.
You gonna pay for that?
No, it's a pay your own way, and we'll have entrance fees.
Snap.
Yeah.
Yeah, my long-term goal is to spend as little money as possible on Super Agile Bros.
No investment.
You've already reached that goal.
Yeah, I'm there, baby.
I'm going to be swiping left on that Sea of Thieves invite.
Dang. I don't think I have like a set long-term goal. I'm really just here to hang out. I think my short-term and my medium-term goals are my long-term goal as well.
Combined.
His schmedium goals.
Just like all my shirts.
No, those are extra smalls.
Extra schmedium.
So my long-term goal, I think it aligns with yours. Where I do want this to be a place that we kind of cultivate, because I'm a part of a bunch of Discords, and when they get to a certain amount of folks, it's really hard, I guess, to keep them, even if everybody's on topic, it's hard to keep them from being like spammy and from things getting lost. And I think, in order for that value to continue being there, we have to kind of build everything that we do around that versus, I guess, just letting things kind of, I don't know, happen. And so I think we're on track, to kind of do that. And then these goals of making things go beyond Discord is like what makes the community more ingrained, where it's not just inside of here, and we're making it a point to branch out and just use Discord as a vehicle, use the podcast as a vehicle to bring nerd gamers with a 9 to 5 together, to squat up because we don't want to be in rando lobbies.
Oh, no.
No.
And so it behooves all of us for this place to exist and for us to be cool,
Yeah. I think this community exists because of what happened. But like me and Kyle, okay, I'll just share the story. Me and Kyle were playing Fortnite together. Yes, Fortnite. First of all, Fortnite's the hottest game you haven't played. And we were playing some of the creative mode stuff, which is basically where like users make games or gameplay modes or whatever. And sometimes those creative mode stuff allow you to get experience or unlock special skins and stuff like that, depending on what Epic is doing. So anyway, we were doing that one time, and something happened. Like me and Kyle, when we play, we normally is just in private chat within the game. But one time, for some reason, we were loading into the game, and it like booted Kyle or to the lobby or something, and it pushed me into general chat with everybody.
Everybody.
And cesspool.
And it's been a long time since I've been in a general chat with gamers, but Fortnite is so much worse than I could have imagined. It was just, hey bro, and then like somebody's like playing music in the background,
dogs barking,
and then somebody coughing, and somebody like, hey, like it was so. I just immediately like. My brain felt like it was going to explode. I was like, I must exit the game no matter what I do. So I'd never...
I feel like it'd be like when Superman gets his super hearing and can hear everything. It's like a similar experience.
Yes. That's exactly how it felt. I think I actually have that saved somewhere on my PlayStation.
Oh my God.
It was so terrible, man. It was so bad. So we'd never want anybody to experience that again. Never again. So...
It's bad time.
Yeah, nah. So that's what our community will be one day. A haven for us nerds, for us, particularly for adult gamers, adult nerds. I
like to say, I guess, that we're not going to reject anybody who doesn't fit that criteria, but that's like our goal, I would think. Right?
I heard
or are we going to reject folks
from Steve?
I think we have to have some sort of rejection criteria.
But is the basis if they're not an adult gamer?
No, that's not the basis. We do need. My long-term goal is to have a set of rejection criteria set up
just for you 12-year-old Fortnite players. No, I mean, honestly, I don't think we need to have a rejection criteria. We just have to have a acceptance criteria. Like right now, our community is just sourced from those people who are our fans, and a lot of our fans also are people we might know. So I think as our community grows, I think we'll be able to recognize people who fit. And not that it's a social club or something special and whatever. It's just more like, hey, like if you want to be here, you want to be here. That's it.
You ain't getting in with them shoes.
Exactly. We're not really here to police anybody. We just honestly just want to have a good time together, And yeah, I don't think me at 12 years old would fit in this community, because me at 12 years old was the whole problem, So overall, I think it's targeted at adult nerds. But, there might be some mature teenagers out there, who could fit into our community. You did?
I think one of the biggest things, though, is like the schedule alignment, So a 12-year-old, I think, would be like spam in the chat during the summer. Where's everybody? How come nobody's playing? It's like, no, we still got jobs.
X person invited you to play. X person invited you to play. I know the feeling.
I will always appear offline.
Because I don't know if we've talked about it before, but when you become an adult and you make friends with a child who also is into gaming, sometimes they will spam you. Like, you won't even be playing. I'll just boot up my PlayStation to check something, and then I'll just get... Invite to Fortnite.
Invitations to games you don't even have.
Exactly. And I'm like going offline. So speaking of going offline, there's no segue for this, by the way. This next question.
Cool. Love it.
Here we go.
The next question that Soy had for us, a great question. Tamagotchis versus Neopets. Which one reigns supreme between the bros?
Ooh.
Simple question, guys. Who's better, Tamagotchi?
I like how
versus Neopets?
this man used the present tense to speak about both Tamagotchis and Neopets.
Hey.
What a bold move.
Hey, some people
Today.
still own it.
I'm pretty sure they have Tamagotchi apps and stuff.
I'm pretty sure they're still...
Nah, bro.
exist.
You don't get a Tamagotchi unless it's on original hardware. This app is nothing.
You're a purist.
It's not a Tamagotchi.
You're a purist.
I know it's giving you notifications. And
That's a
stuff.
Tamagotchi.
Ooh.
As in, they gotcha.
Microtransactions in there.
I gotcha. Yeah, what skin are you going to buy for your Tamagotchi today? You know this.
Your pet is gonna die unless you buy these 3
These will
gems for
die,
$30.
and then just spamming your phone. Are you going to let your Tamagotchi die? Yes.
You wouldn't steal a Tamagotchi, would you?
Oh my gosh.
So I'll answer this really quickly because I feel like I have to be Tamagotchi because nobody I really knew had Neopets. And I think Tamagotchi was just the gold standard in my elementary school when I was a kid. And I didn't actually have a Tamagotchi. I had like the off-brand, like this weird one that didn't do as much. You couldn't interact as much. But I did mess with my friends' Tamagotchis, or they'd be like, hey, can you watch it for the weekend for me?
Can you watch it?
Yes.
You were Tamagotchi watching?
I did
Babysitting.
once or twice, and then I would not remember, and their whole screen would be filled with poop. You know,
Remind me never to let you watch my kid.
It'll be the same.
whole room would be filled with poop.
Just these like swirly little turds.
Just
Stink lines coming up.
so I have to go Tamagotchi because I really didn't have Neopets to really compare them to.
Ah.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't have a Tamagotchi either, but I did have a Digimon, like one of the original toy Digimon,
This man
which was based.
Always talking about Digimon.
I can't
He's
help
gonna
it.
figure
It
out a
came
way to
up-
get into every episode.
I'm like Pierce. I'm like Pierce from Community. It just came up. It just came up organically. Eartha Kitt in the airplane.
Sorry, Digimon.
Digimon. I also had something called an Omnipet, which I do not.
Oh, I recall that
I've-
vaguely.
You recall? I've never heard of it since, but I know I had it. It was called Omnipet. I thought Omni meant 8. I was learning about my
Omnidirectional.
Yeah, because there were 8 pets that you could get, I guess. And so I was like, oh, Omni means 8. I was just too dumb to realize it's Octo.
Octopath.
Stupid
Pet.
infant.
But actually, I'm going to say this side note. Actually, I don't disagree with you because there was also omnidirectional like gaming pads that were 8 directional.
Exactly.
So yeah, I don't disagree.
There were plenty of basically Omni things. Anyway, I had things that were adjacent to the Tamagotchi, and I never had any interest in Neopets. Ironically, because I couldn't imagine why playing minigames with a little made-up, furry adjacent animal was fun. And yet I thought playing minigames with a severely pixelated animal was fun. So
You made your choice.
I made my choice. And it was the choice of Digimon every time. No regrets.
So your answer is Digimon. I like it.
No rules, just like Outback Steakhouse.
A blooming onion.
Ooh.
Kyle.
So this one actually kind of threw me because I remember growing up on both of these. Like I had a couple of the plushies from the Neopets. And I used to play like their website where they had all those mini games, man. I was on that. All those Flash games. It was in like in the same ballpark as Club Penguin. So I was kind of just enamored by stuff going on the screen. And I had a Tamagotchi, but it wasn't like an original one. They made like the themed ones. And so I had one that was Jurassic Park themed. And it was like the size of one of those Pokedexes that you could have bought when you were a kid. And it had like the little screen on it.
Oh, wow.
And it had just a bunch of like numbers and buttons. It was super involved because like you'd create a dinosaur by putting in some numbers. It'd spawn a random one and you'd have to take care of it from then on like a Tamagotchi would.
Really?
So it'd have giant dinosaur poops. You have to put it into kennels and cages, and it would make these horrifying sounds. But it was a fun time. Mostly when I was sleeping, it would need something like food, and so I didn't like my Tamagotchi, but I think
I was beholden to it.
I loved it, but I didn't like it.
Yeah,
just like every father.
I let the batteries die, but that was.
He's like, please die, battery.
The only way to deal with it is to let the
Completely remove its existence. Like,
I mean, well, dinosaurs are more resilient than I think furry little creatures. Like that thing would not. Like you'd have to restart it to get a new dinosaur, which I would do.
Oh my
routinely.
gosh, dude! You just uncovered a deep trauma. I remember I had an Omni pet and I took care of it, and the batteries died.
Oh,
and it killed the animal. Like if you put the batteries back in, there's no ROM or there's no RAM, I guess. So yeah, it was just gone.
see that was fundamentally a flaw, though, if you think about it, because those things were hardware, right? Like the little piece that you held in your hands, and the only way to change, like if the battery was weak, you had to literally change it. So it was guaranteed that one day you would lose all your progress, right? If there's
yes, but from what I remember, those didn't have like long running progress. Like the whole lifespan of a Tamagotchi was probably like a couple of weeks, right?
I don't know.
Even if you took care of it, I don't know.
I don't think I've ever let any of my digital pets survive long enough to know.
They never got into old age.
Yeah, I don't think they're meant for long term. They're like Mr. Meeseeks. Like they're not meant to live more than a few
Serve
hours.
your purpose.
Wow.
Existence is pain.
They literally are temporal. I mean, that's smart. That's a good like way to do it. So you could say, oh no, they're not meant to survive. So the battery change is just a part of the process. It's teaching children that animals die eventually.
Well, I think they would literally die of old age eventually. Although maybe it's because I didn't feed it enough. I don't know. It's hard to tell with those things.
Mine,
there would just be a little gravestone sometimes and a digi-egg next to it.
Yeah, mine definitely. Definitely didn't have a Tamagotchi, but I definitely killed multiple pets. And then eventually I was like, I'm done with this trash. I can't do this no more. Like, I'm not made for this.
Like a dog?
I don't know. I just had one of those off-brand ones. Like,
no, I'm joking. You said you've killed multiple pets.
Oh,
no.
Like dog. I've actually don't think I've ever. Anyway, but so I guess the answer
my choice is Tamagotchi.
The answer is Digimon, clearly. So
yes, Digimon
reigns supreme.
It was Agumon.
I don't see Pokemon out here with a Tamagotchi style keep them alive.
Oh, you know they have them.
You just reminded me the thing actually for me like surpassed Tamagotchi was Chozos in Sonic Adventures. Sonic Adventures 2.
The Chow Garden.
The Chow, not Chozo.
Chocobo.
Like, oh, no kidding.
The Chow. Because I would like, first of all, it was really hard to get them to grow and progress. But I had like a garden, because in 2 you get a garden. In the original, you had a Chow on your memory card, which was, first of all, super cool. Like, the Dreamcast was doing other things. But
they were.
I had a garden, and I would check on those things. I'd give them make sure the color changed, give them the right fruit, so they ate and they did this, and absolutely had no impact on the game. But I was invested in that before somebody stole our Dreamcast. So,
yeah.
Man, you've had the worst luck with those games.
Thieves.
With anything on a memory card, honestly.
Yeah, somebody stole our broke into our house and stole our game systems and memory cards, which was just painful. I'm like, so take everything, but don't take the memory cards, man.
Like, I'm getting that save data, son.
Like, that's my life. That's my literal life. So anyway,
have you tried locking your door?
Core trauma. I don't know how to stop criminals who know how to kick doors in, so welcome to the streets. But anyway,
they added the Chow Garden to Balan Wonderland.
I was about to make that joke. I was going to say the best part about Balan Wonderworld is the Chow Garden.
Chow Garden copyright notice served. Oh man! So, thank you, Soy, for your great questions.
Thank you for the question.
So
yes, well done.
We're going to spend a few minutes here just talking about what Soy shared with us. So once again, I'll try to share the link in the description, or I guess Kyle, since he normally writes the descriptions. It's on you, fool.
Oh, snap.
But the video the trailer that Soy shared with us is actually I was not expecting this, and I'm actually I was like, oh,
No,
come on. Soy shared with us basically a throwback commercial to the Nintendo 64. And let me tell you something, man. It brought me back, son. Like,
Mug was hype.
It took me back to like being a kid on my sofa, being like, I want this thing. You know, like,
right.
Like, it seems so goofy, and like, it's like, hey, it is the greatest thing ever. Like, it has that cheesy 90s announcer voice, and just like,
and then it had the testimonials from the kids and teens afterwards. Like, it was the voices of my peers back in the day.
Mm-hmm. And if the kids say they love it, it has to be great.
Has to be true. Yeah, they wouldn't lie.
Why would? It's not like they're not actually reviewing from kids and just saying things. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that commercials were like that back in the day. Sometimes, even though that makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, video game commercials were like exactly like action figure commercials where, check this out, kids.
All I could think about is a hand holding an oversized Riddler doll, smashing it through fake bricks, and being like, "Gotcha, Batman."
No,
it's always a white hand too.
I just love that there's a moment in the video where it's like, so it's like a Super Mario 64 commercial, and there's a moment where it actually shows the 64 and the 64 controller, and like the person playing it, like, like it's just like, this is what you'll experience when you play this awesome game on the Nintendo 64. You know, it's
sold.
It's like
they knew what they were doing.
It's like y'all remember golly, what's Crossfire? Don't get caught up in the crossfire.
Is it like a Nerf gun or something?
Oh,
that sounds like 90% of the Saturday morning cartoons I watched.
It was basically like the best commercial for a board game about shooting metal. What do you call those little metal silver shiny balls? The
Oh, I know exactly what you
not
mean.
marbles.
Not marbles.
BBs?
BBs, essentially, but there's another word for them. Like BBs at people, and you're just trying to shoot it into the other people's goals. Crossfire! Don't get... It was so good. Like, it got you so hyped for something that you, number one, were never going to get.
Yeah, I see that.
And only your friends had it. You never had it.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, man.
And they don't know where they got it.
And they never want to play it when you come to their house. You're like, yo, you got Super Mario 64? Ah, man. Like... Can we play something else? Son! We will...
You want to play Crossfire?
Crossfire.
Please.
Yeah, maybe I'm too cynical. I kept thinking about how it's like, we will control how the world looks, or we want to control how the world looks. Oh, it's, we won't be told, like, how the world looks, or this or that.
I do want a transcript for this commercial.
But I remember playing Mario 64 and being like, there's only 4 camera directions. Like, no matter what I do, it always syncs to like 4 cardinal directions.
Well, that was 4 before there weren't any.
There was
you
0.
couldn't control the camera.
That was 3 more.
There's 1.
The usual.
Dude, I can still remember the day I saw Super Mario 64 at Blockbuster at one of those little
the kiosk things.
And I remember I was walking through. I think I've shared this before. We used to, like, every Friday, we get to rent one game, and or a movie, and I remember walking through, and there was a kid playing it before me, and he was a little bit older than me, and I don't know how old I was, and all I remember, he was in the main garden place where the castle is, and he was running around with Mario, and I was like, what in the world? And the thing that blew my mind is when he got Mario to squat and start crawling like a baby. I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like,
going prone is in every game. It's been in every game since.
I legitimately was like, I need this. Like, the game wasn't cool to me until he did that baby crawl. And I said, oh my goodness, this is the greatest thing. I didn't even know you could do that in a game. It was
Is that even useful in the game anywhere?
not.
Maybe?
Not
I don't know.
really.
I'm not really.
And I guess it wasn't a
well-versed in
baby crawl. It
64.
was like a squat thing.
It's like I'm trying to drag my butt on the ground like a doggy squat.
Yeah,
walk.
it was. Yeah, I don't think it was only useful because you could use it to like long jump, but like instead of
that squat. I thought you were talking about.
Maybe it was just to signal that you were in position to.
No, but you could also crawl. I just remember being blown.
He could lay flat.
Yeah,
and then
in Legend of
army
Zelda,
crawl.
Yes.
In Wind Waker, you can army crawl.
But it was a baby kind of crawl. Like
because Mario would shuffle because he got those short limbs.
Mm-hmm. Dude. Anyway, thank you, Soy, for bringing back memories.
Yeah,
that was.
I actually don't have any recollection of seeing this commercial back then. It was 1996, so I wasn't really great at forming memories at that age.
Yeah, I can't say that I remember the commercial, but I remember the energy.
The energy for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you, Soy, for all your questions in your trailer. We went really deep on Neopets and Tamagotchis, so it's your fault. All right, let's move on to our next Discordian, our boy Simon XD. His name is Simon. Our boy Simon.
Simon?
Yes.
I thought it was Simon with a smiley face.
No, it's a smiley face.
Yeah, with the XD.
But I'm just clowning him. So Simon, shout out to Simon. Goes back to the IBM days, goes back to the game development community that we created.
Blue Rabbit Games, baby.
Blue Rabbit Games represent. We'll never get that.
Oh wow, that was before Sleeping Zebu.
Yeah, it was.
Zebu. Yeah, before special.
I remember.
A special unit of special people within IBM who wanted to make games and gamification. Great times, talking, discussing, even playing games together. So shout out to the boy Simon. Actually was in his homeland not so recent, well, very recently. So beautiful place. I'm not gonna dox him. They're not gonna figure out where he is in that country. But either way, I'm not gonna put out where he lives. But I wish next time when I come there, Simon, we gon' connect. I didn't have the opportunity this time, but shout out to the boy Simon. So Simon has a simple question. Well, two questions. Did you ever imagine 5 to 10 years ago that you would be celebrating a 50th episode of your podcast? Of even a podcast? What y'all?
Yeah, 5 to 10 years ago, I didn't even... A podcast wasn't even on my mind 2 years ago, much less.
Yeah.
So absolutely not. And then even as long as we've been doing it 50, the closer we've gotten, it hasn't really seemed like it'd be a real thing. Even when we were at 45, I was like, maybe we'll make 50, but even more so when we were 25. And so no, I think this is crazy that we're at 50, 51 technically.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think I get what he's saying, but I wonder if maybe people think that we planned this out more than we did. It's definitely not the case. You could, judging by our episode 0, even. Yeah, we just kind of did this. Mm-hmm. And so before this, I would, like I said earlier, I'm fame adverse, and
Reverse.
Am chronically under motivated in general, and so I didn't think I'd be doing anything like this. Yeah, it is cool. I always thought okay, maybe I'll be a writer. When I was younger, I thought maybe I'll be a writer, or a casual YouTuber or something. Mm-hmm. But I quickly learned I didn't like those things. Well, writing would still be cool, but that's just not where my life has gone.
Fan fiction.
Fan
fiction of Digimon. Did you ever write Digimon fan
There
fiction?
you go.
I never wrote Digimon fan fiction.
Missed opportunity.
It's not
the
too
closest late. The closest I came was reading. I think I read some Digimon fan fiction on DeviantArt.
Ooh,
I definitely read some really poor Kingdom Hearts fan fiction on DeviantArt. That's what comes to mind.
That's fair.
Because it's hard to tell what's real when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. So.
Kingdom Hearts, it could be.
It's honestly not far off
than the actual
from where the story ended up going. It's really far off
from the actual.
It was like after Kingdom Hearts 2. So like in Kingdom Hearts, you have the Heartless, where they don't have. It's like the heart wrapped in darkness, and then in Kingdom Hearts 2, you have nobodies, which are like the bodies that the hearts removed from them, I guess, controlled by darkness or by nothingness. And so this person introduced the next orthogonal concept, which was I don't remember. It was something that doesn't make any sense. They just wanted to kind of go with continued the theme of like, I don't know, maybe it was like souls and darkness or something. But anyway, it was bad. Even as a teenager, I thought it was bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, 5 to 10 years ago, I think my thing is that I've never been very consistent with anything, like other than a few things in my life. So I think to me, it's always been one of those things where I'm like, when is this going to fall off? Yeah. It sounds bad, but it's like, the only consistent things that have really been in my life is God, my family, breakdancing. That fell off eventually because just literally not possible to do it forever. And then, but from a creative standpoint, I don't know. I've never consistently made a thing to the point, like once it became overly difficult, I normally just go, let me move on to the next thing, Right.
The effort.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that I've done 50 of anything in a creative standpoint. So
real talk.
I can't even if I was like super plugged into the podcast community 5 to 10 years ago, I don't think I would ever thought that I would have made it this far. I think the longest running thing that I've ever done creatively was another thing that was done with Kyle, which was maybe Scratch the Itch.
We got about nearly 30 episodes.
Yeah, but we never released the second season. We just recorded them all. So it's like,
Yeah, I've never had a creative thing like this.
Welcome, child. A good place to start.
Welcome.
Good place to start.
I think if I would have been deeper into the podcast community before this, it probably would have been more of a deterrent for me. Because I feel like that's kind of what happened with YouTube, is that it became, when we were doing Scratch the Itch, it became kind of like this weird thing because I was already so involved in YouTube before it. And it seemed like I don't know, it was like, I guess more like an internal struggle. It's like just seeing everybody else and being super aware of what it takes, I guess, to kind of make it, if you will, quote unquote, make it. And it became a thing, which we talked about. It's like, it became like the effort didn't meet the value. It didn't feel, and it didn't feel like doing it anymore. And I haven't really felt that towards this. And I think it's because it's so new and fresh, and not being a deep part of the podcast community has helped.
Yeah, I feel like almost knowing the standard of quality is a deterrent because you never get to, I don't know, a Matt Pat level like where he is now in a day or a week or a month or a year, right? But that's the standard now, right? Of YouTube videos, of production quality and timing and blah, 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 writing. And we're starting off just with this, And I think podcasts, other than like being aware of like Joe Rogan and like some random crime podcasts, it just seems like the quality is not the most important part per se, but it's more about the content and the conversation. And I feel like you said, I'm not super dissuaded, like seeing other people's podcasts that are higher quality, because I don't even necessarily know if that's good quality. I'm just, it's just what they're doing, So
maybe we should try writing a book and publishing it on Amazon. That's also a lower quality.
People make money, son. We should make a book called How to Make a Podcast with Your Friends. Without a plan.
Easy. The book is like 6 pages. The book is like 6 pages long. Just do it.
Without a plan.
It's just a list of resources.
How to make a
Google.
How to make a success.
Spotify.
How to make a successfully unplanned podcast. You know, like we're doing it. We're doing it.
At the
have
very
friends
beginning,
that are funnier than you are.
We have that quote: "Planning to fail, or failing to plan."
Planning to fail.
Buy a cheap microphone that is good enough.
Hope one of your friends knows how to make thumbnails.
True.
Shoot. And you got to have somebody who's willing to do an edit of 2 hours of conversation on a weekly basis without going absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
2.5 hours the way this conversation is going.
Represent.
You got to have a squat. You got to squat up like in the Discord.
Yep, like in Fortnite. But his second question is, where do you see the podcast going in 1 to 5 years?
In the trash.
This is actually our last episode.
Surprise!
Surprise! Gotcha! I don't know. I mean, I'll let y'all answer this first. If y'all
go ahead, Steve.
Cool. Well, I think that we made a grave error here by not having some sort of format revolving around seasons, or like
it's not too late.
Specific topics that we can like run through and then be done. Maybe before we pick up a second specific topic. So it kind of just feels like it has to keep going, unless we just arbitrarily say, let's make this season 0. And then season 1 will actually be good.
Season 0 is 50 episodes. Is that how
but I feel like if we did seasons, we would have to have like specific goals. And right now we don't. Or at least I don't. Like I feel like when we started this, my thinking was, we'll talk about the things we like. But eventually you run out of
you stop liking things.
Liked. Well, not that you stop liking things, but like You run out of like stories from your childhood about the first time you watched anime, right? Mm-hmm. Like at this point, a lot of the listeners will know my tastes and will know what I've played or not played or watched or not watched. And we're going to have to move more towards like, all right, current events, not current events, but current releases, like new stuff as it comes out, or maybe slightly older stuff that we just haven't played yet.
Yes. Super Agile Bros will become a news podcast.
Yes.
Daily uploads.
I don't want us to be a news
a
podcast.
Commentary news pod.
I don't want to be a talking head. I don't want to be an internet personality. Because I don't think my personality is that sparkling.
We could become...
Nor yours, Brad.
Abba.
Shine bright like a diamond.
And you become just like them.
With the most salacious thumbnails.
Click that, bait.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't really have foresight on the next 1 to 5 years. I feel like all good things must come to an end is a pretty solid rule to live by. I'm not saying I have an end in mind, but like I'm thinking, like, is this going to end, or is this going to be a thing that we do until we're just sick to death of it?
But he is thinking the end is near,
or we're just dead.
I don't know.
The podcast kills us.
I honestly think that, like you said, Steve, since we don't have like a super structured, like, hey, we're going to be talking about Nicolas Cage films, or we're going to be talking about X thing that's like finite, that we could go on to perpetuity, because more stuff is going to get created, more games, more anime, more movies. So we'll always have something to talk about, and life is going to change for us. And our conversations, we could talk about a lot of different things depending on what, we might interest us, or maybe the community. And I have a feeling like 1 to 5 years from now, number one, I think we'll get even more streamlined in what we're doing. Like, one thing that I feel like happens in general is we have these discussions and then we like add a small thing. Like, oh, now we have our Facebook page. But we're kind of streamlined. We're going to streamline that. And like our YouTube at first felt like absolutely overwhelming, Yeah. But now it's just like a system, like boom, 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 boom. Editing didn't feel overwhelming. It just felt like a lot. But now for me, like I can edit it like in short order, just depending on when I feel like doing it. and the thumbnails come out more, and so I feel like we're gonna continue to streamline. I wonder like what cadence we'll stay at. Maybe we'll stay at every other week, or maybe we'll gain popularity and maybe we'll get more enthused to make more episodes or something. I don't know. Like, I honestly don't know. I mean, all I know is I'd like to see our podcast grow in its audience, its listeners and viewership. I mean, we're definitely growing, you know, just looking at the numbers. We've like just on Spotify, we've hit the 1K stream. So shout out to all our listeners. So
couldn't have done it without your ears.
And our YouTube, we're getting more views. Just overall, we're steadily growing, but it's not like we're marketing our podcast really. So I don't know. Maybe in a few years we'll actually have a marketing idea. Like maybe we'll actively be telling people about it more, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll hire a marketing director and buy a domain.
Maybe that's it. Maybe in the 1 to 5 years we'll find a producer, somebody who just fundamentally helps us to stay organized. But once again, I feel like any person who joins our crew has to do it for the love of the game, not for money, because we're not going to pay you.
Yeah.
So if you want to be
getting paid,
if you want to be involved in making this, then let us know. But we're not going to pay you, and don't ever expect to get paid.
There's no money in this.
There's no money in this.
I also say not only is there no money in this, but we've been very lucky to have kind of like a perfect mix of energy between us. Like Brad is very much like a driven, he's very driven and very like apt to doing these kinds of things. Whereas I am not. Like I definitely wouldn't be doing this by myself. I'm very cynical. I'm very like, I don't know if we should do this, or I don't know if I want to like do this. I'm kind of more like ready to worry about things and maybe help, which isn't great. I don't add anything to this conversation actually, now that I think about it. Someone just replaced me. Actually, didn't someone on Twitter offer
There was another Steve.
There's another Steve. Shout out to other Steve. That's my
other Steve. I hope you're still out there. They're thinking about it. They really are.
Do you have
and Kyle's also very creative, and I think he's just creative in a different way. I don't really know how to describe it. We talked a few years ago, about like the different dynamics of a creative team and how we kind of fit those roles.
Yeah, good mix.
Remember that?
I would, you know what I think it is? It's like, yeah, I'm the producer type, right? Like, I'm just like always driving us forward in a way because I'm crazy. So I'm like, hey, let's do a new thing. Let's do this, right? Like, and then Kyle's like the glue because he's not overly like, hey, let's do a million things, but he's always down to like help progress, you know, and move forward.
I'm along for the ride, baby.
But he's also kind of a realist. So he's like, you know, like, I don't know if I could do a thumbnail every day like that, you know? And he's creative. So he kind of like adds to the synergy. And then Steve is like, I like to say, it's like, he's the color commentary, right? Like, maybe he's not the production schedule guy and he's like, oh, let's do it this day and that way. But what he adds is a flavor that would be impossible to add with like me and Kyle's general mindset. Because Steve is not so concerned about the production aspect. He's more concerned about the nature of it, you know, the feeling, the flow, and that it's still keeping the heart that we decided on in the very beginning.
He's our regulator.
Yeah. Like he keeps us honest, you know? So we all kind of,
that's very sweet.
It's like a balance, right? Because I'm just like, let's do
it's not
more.
A compliment.
Let's do great. It's not a compliment. We're saying that you're limiting us. You know?
He's the limiter.
He's the limiter. So he keeps us at status quo and we never grow because of him.
That's right.
Like me, I'm just growth mindset. No, I'm kidding. It's like me, I'm just always crazy. Like, hey, we should do this. Hey, we should do a live stream.
Oh, yeah. Infinite ideas.
You know, like, but like then Kyle's like, okay, like let's actually think about how to implement this. Here's what we do have at our disposal. And then Steve is like, so
should we do this?
No. What about the clickbait though? You know, he keeps us honest, you know? So
Yeah. So I say all that to say, I think we have it's just three of us. There's no one else. And anyone who actually wanted to join us in the future would have to like fill in a missing piece. And, any friction would probably cause us to split apart. So it isn't just you have to be free. You have to also be
down for the ride.
Like ready to deal with the things that we bring to the table.
You got to be ready to deal with Steve.
Yeah. I'm really the one you have to worry about. I'm a hassle.
Hey. Kyle, what did you have anything 1 to 5 for us?
Oh, 1 to 5. I did think of something earlier, but what was that? So I think in general, I do want to just see growth and progression, and then us get more confidence in promoting things or just learning what that really means. Because we established ourselves on all these platforms, but then we didn't tell anybody about it. And then the handful of people who are here want to be here, and that's a really cool thing. And so just, I guess, more of the same, but better over the next 5 years, I think, in general. Like as long as we improve on what we're doing and we continue, I guess, add the value to those involved, as well as it continues to add value to us. Because I know I look forward to working on the podcast, and it not having any money in it to me isn't a deficit. Like it wasn't the reason why I got involved in the first place. So it's not really hindering me now, 50 episodes in, and it's not going to be the catalyst in the long run to get to episode 100 or whatever the next milestone is. So just as long as we continue growing and progressing over the next 5 years, I'm good.
Long story short is this podcast has no value to us, so you can't.
We're men with nothing to lose.
We have nothing to gain and nothing to lose. So it's like
worthless.
It's absolutely worth. Some people would say it has no value. It's invaluable. Like no, it's valueless.
It cannot be valued because not a number is not a number.
It's not a number. 1 over 0. It's just one of those situations where for us, it's just something we do. It's just an overpouring an expression of what we are. I mean, definitely, if I had something I'd love to see in 1 to 5 years, is that when you go to Google and you type super, and then you type space A, that we're one of the suggestions. Yeah. Like, that'd be cool. Like, that we have a presence that, like, even if our community isn't like 1 billion strong, 1 million strong, it's just that, like, we're recognized for just being creators, and that people like us,
my dream is that, I get a threatening letter in my mailbox that says, I heard what you said about M. Night Shyamalan, and I'm going to dox you if you don't take it back on the next episode.
So Steve wants to be threatened to be doxed. So
the picture of your
any
house.
of our Discord community willing to do that, I will help you to help his dream come true.
The sooner the better.
He's like, I never thought it would come so early. So, thank you, Miss Simon.
Wait, we didn't go over his trailer yet.
Yeah. I was about to. I'll say Sir Simon for those questions.
Oh, my bad.
Let's now talk about his trailer. So what Simon shared with us, Sir Simon, he shared a first look at a coming Netflix series by Guillermo.
Ooh, I'm gonna let you do this. Go on.
Guillermo. I knew this was going to happen. Guillermo del Toro's.
Guillermo del Toro.
He did his best.
Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. You have to understand, that's difficult for me, even if I...
That's a hard name.
Yeah.
And I'll give you that.
Is it Guillermo? Is that the correct... How do you say it?
Guillermo
del Toro's Cabinet...
Say it with love.
Cabinet of Curiosities. Which essentially, it seems pretty cool. It's like an anthology of I don't know, is it like horror stories? Or
it's horror stories.
Yeah. And these weird kind of nightmare fuel type anthologies.
Isn't that kind of like what Tales from the Crypt was like a bunch of short horror stories?
For kids.
And
for kids. So this just seems like those kids now demand higher quality short stories.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
Like
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. It's just the natural progression of what it is. Yeah, it's yeah. What are y'all's thoughts?
So one thing I like about it, it's a first look, and because it's an anthology, there's not really much in the way of like story, trailer, or anything like that. But it's actually Guillermo himself is kind of like narrating the trailer. And what makes him excited is what makes me excited. He's talking about all the practical effects they're doing and how he wants to show how life can be really awful and disgusting and beautiful at the same time. Like they're the same thing to him. And to me, that's like a very Stephen King approach to horror, which is like showing just the deep horror of reality, but also kind of the poignant beauty of reality. So I like him as a director and as a creative. So I'm really excited for this cabinet of curiosities.
Cabinet. Yeah, at the very beginning of the trailer, I was just like, absolutely not. And I almost...
You're not feeling that?
I legitimately almost cut it off after 30 seconds. Like, it was one of those times I scrolled, my fingers scrolled away from it because I was watching it on my laptop. And I was like, can I? Yeah, it was. I don't know if I could do it. But I watched it and I got to the point, we were talking about the practical effects and stuff. And I'm really enamored by practical effects. Like, I love that in any source of any mediums that they're used. And so this is definitely has me on the fence. Like if they're going to be talking about how they actually build those things, then I'm into it. I don't necessarily want to see the sequences where they,
you want to see the making of
the BTS behind the scenes.
Yeah, like spoil the magic for me all day long. I don't want to be immersed in the actual story with these characters.
Yes,
you don't want to be buried alive with the ghouls.
I'm gonna pass.
The gremlins.
Not today.
I immediately thought of you, Kyle. Once I started watching, I was like, "Oh, Kyle's gonna love this." like for me, I mean, personally, I like horror for the same reason I like sci-fi, is that it makes me imagine what could be in a world where like it's definitely not that way. Like it kind of like it's to me like creativity. Like I think like if you're a comedian, you're likely able to create something really scary because you're able to understand what makes people like triggers people, and like laughter and like fear to me fall within the same realm of like creativity. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But to me,
kind of involuntary.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like you just know how to make people feel something, and I think that that's why I like horror. And so to me, like, it's interesting because I like anthologies, but, like, I'm always slow to watch them because I feel like anytime there's an anthology show, like, what's that one? Robots in Love or Love and Robots?
Death
and Robots?
God. It's those things. It's Death, Love, and Robots or something like that.
Right? Like, I always feel like I have to sit down and really immerse myself because, like, I know because they're not additive, I feel like I can't miss anything. In an anthology episode, I need to really take it in because the way that Guillermo,
just call him Mr. Del Toro.
Mr. Del Toro, Guillermo Del Toro said,
"There you go."
That each world is encompassed in its own, and it's like its own universe, its own world, and its own. I was like, that's super cool to me. That's why I love sci-fi. Like this is just contained. But I know it's going to take forever for me to watch this because I'm never going to have that moment where I can just sit and just watch it and just partake in it. So I don't know. It seems really cool. For you, Steve, season 5, episode 1, that like, to me, that's the season 5, episode 1 of Broken, Mirror. Or Black Mirror. For some reason, that immediately came to my mind as I was watching this. I was like, something's gonna scar me in this. in this series.
Is this a suggestion you made to me half jokingly that I'll probably never watch because you just want me to watch it and be traumatized, or is this an actual suggestion that I think you think I would
have
like?
You not watched season 5, episode 1 of Black Mirror?
I'm gonna take that as a yes. No, I haven't.
I
have not.
You
I haven't
need
watched
to watch
Mirror.
it.
I want you to.
me and our old roommate, the other Steve, we watched it together.
Yeah. And they wouldn't stop talking about it without saying a single word about
Season
it.
5, episode 1, man.
They just kept looking at me sideways like, you gonna watch it?
Season 5, episode 1, man.
I'm like, no, I'm not.
It'll change you.
Sure enough, not.
It'll change you, son. Season 5, episode 1.
I bet.
So, anywho.
Thank you, Simon.
Yes.
Simeon.
Thank you, Sir Simon.
Very well done.
Very well done. We know that Kyle's not invested in this, but he appreciates your effort.
Yeah. It had some redeeming qualities.
Yeah, it looks good. Maybe they'll be behind the scenes. Maybe. So let's move on to our next man with a plan. Brady, aka Nice Guy Brady. Shout out to the boy Brady.
Find him on Twitch. Find him on Steam. Review bomb his games and his reviews. I don't know.
Just find him in the streets. Yeah, the boy
Assault this man
with a baseball bat.
The boy Brady goes way back. You know, met that boy in Baton Rouge. He's a gamer, true and true. I still remember when Brady came through my crib a long time ago, and it was like, "Yo, son, you got to listen to these headphones." And it was like the most miraculous headphones ever. Like, I was like, where did you get these from, son? And then he has a gaming rig. Well, he might not have it anymore, but he had this gaming rig that was so gangster. You know, they used to.
He brought that junk over to our apartment. Like, he carried all this hardware up here, up the stairs.
That's commitment.
Yeah.
To play Rocket League in our living room.
Oh, so he's a realist.
Oh, he's the realist. And he really showed.
Yeah, he is.
He has an eye for like the highest level of fidelity in whatever he's experiencing. So shout out to the boy Brady. So him being a fan of our podcast is like makes me feel special. You know, we're the highest form of fidelity as far as
that he'll waste his time listening to us.
It's an honor.
The truest honor.
It's an honor. So first question from Nice Guy Brady is, how did the Super Agile Bros podcast come to life? So
Episode 4.
Episode 4, baby.
Yeah, go back and watch the episode. But also we talked about a little bit, you know, like it was just, like very, very long story short, I had pitched to Steve a long time ago that we should do a podcast together, me and him, when we were living together. That never came to fruition. Me and Kyle always are working on things. Steve and Kyle are always goofing off. And it just felt, and then we had a Slack channel that kind of appeared overnight. And has just grown. Like, I'm looking at it right now. We literally have like 10 or 15 channels that we just.
It started because of Smash Bros.
All because of a joke, Smash 2020. Yeah, it's just kind of like one day I was like, hey, y'all, we should do a podcast. And it's like, all right, let's go for it. Let's see what happens. Episode 0 was born, and you know, now we're at episode 50. So, yeah, that's how it came to life.
That's how it came to be.
So, our boy, Nice Guy Brady says, what game gets you all nostalgic the most? Where the game hits you like, man, I'm about to cry right now. No lie.
And then he didn't close his quotation marks at the end.
I think
I
might not have closed those quotation marks. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I had to manually type it in.
No, I'll give it to him. It's his title.
So does one come to mind for y'all?
So, yes. Actually just mentioned it a second ago. It's also what started the podcast. But Super Smash Bros. Is the game that whenever I play it, it kind of gets me because I played Smash Bros from the very beginning. Like I played it on the Nintendo 64, and coming up, I played a lot with my dad and my brother, and so it was a bonding element between us. You know, we just gather around the TV and play video games. You know, my dad would work a lot. My brother was a couple years older than me, so he'd be into things that I couldn't understand, and so that was a time where it would level the playing field. And then as I got older, I'd be better than them. They'd 2v1 me and still lose. And it was just like, it was a great time. And then as we got older, collectively, we didn't play as much anymore. And so when we did, it was just, you know, we'd stay up till 2, 3 in the morning, kind of reminiscing, you know, and just playing, just to kind of make up for lost time. But usually when I play Smash Bros, it's like the music, I guess, that gets me the most. is because I remember, because they keep putting the same music in the newer games, and it's like when I hear them, they just kind of tug at me a little bit, and so Smash Bros. It's got a special place in my heart.
You know, I don't cry when I get nostalgic, so I didn't know how to answer this at first. In terms of nostalgia, I'll say basically any GameCube game, especially one that has not recently been re-released on the Switch. So like Wind Waker, what else did I used to play? Extreme G3 Racing probably would make me nostalgic.
Did you play the
Metroid
Animal Crossing
Prime.
on there?
Huh?
Did you play the Animal Crossing on the GameCube?
No, I did not.
Oh, great game.
No, I avoided those.
You avoided them.
But I was, based on your answer, you just reminded me. Actually, I hate to admit this, but in Smash Bros. Brawl, in the Subspace Emissary, there's like a halfway decent story, and there's a few scenes that legit make me like feel emotional.
Oh yeah.
I think the scene where like Samus saves Pikachu, maybe not that. I don't know. I remember that. It's a very graphic scene for me. Okay, the scene where the ancient minister is exposed as Rob, and he's trying to save the other Robs that have been like controlled and are being forced to like explode these subspace bombs.
Yeah.
And all of the other characters are trying to help Rob release the other miniature Robs, and they can't.
Yeah.
And the Robs are looking at each other and silently communicating. And I'm like, dang, why is it like that?
Gut wrenching, man.
I heard Steve's voice crack there a little bit. You know?
Oh, it just always cracks. Yeah, I'm a cracker. But yeah, that answers the question in two different ways.
You know, I would say that there's probably more, as I thought about this and think about this now, more and more games actually pop up. I'll just name them really quickly. So the first is Dynasty Warriors 3. I'm actually going to write a blog about this because I think Dynasty Warriors 3 like took me out of a depression, like genuinely. I was in a very negative place in my life when it got introduced to me, and for some reason it was what I needed. That summer with Dynasty Warriors 3 is one of the most emotionally, like, the music, the smell, the feelings are very, it really, in many ways, like, had a super positive impact on my life. So Dynasty Warriors 3, Final Fantasy 7 I've talked about, has moments in it that hit me really hard. Barrett, when after his house, where he lived collapses, the deaths of Aerith, like stuff like that. There's some moments actually in Halo 2 and 3 when Master Chief is really being Master Chief and they're playing his music. Da, 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 da,
oh yeah,
like
you're right.
Gives me
of course,
goosebumps,
Halo, you're right.
And I feel it. Like I can see those moments still. Like Halo for a very long time was definitely top games. Like, you know, 1, 2, 3, like particularly 2 and 3 really like I really feel like have had an impact. And probably the game that weirdly it's not really the game, kind of, sorta, but it's what the game represents to me, is actually Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. The trailer for Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess I have probably watched 100 times, maybe more.
Really?
In my lifetime, because I think I shared this with you before. I got the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. I had Wind Waker 2. I reserved the game before I had a title. And I had a receipt for it from GameStop. I just knew I wanted the next game and didn't know what it was going to be. I remember when they dropped the trailer on IGN for Twilight Princess, and it was one of the most incredible experiences. I remember having my headphones on, sitting in the living room, my family's behind me, and I felt like I went to another world watching that trailer. I watched it recently, like a few weeks ago, and I was like, wow, this is so bad. but like then it was everything. So when I see that trailer, I get a little emotional. because I don't know why. It's just something about the adventure that was coming, the characters. I love the game Twilight Princess, but yeah, that one gets me.
The gravitas of the trailer was just so intense.
And just how it started.
It made me think that was my second Zelda game, and that was like, I was like, man, I guess they're just all bangers all the time. And then they came out with Skyward Sword, and I was like, oh, okay.
I just remember the trailer starts, it goes dun dun dun, like it hits with this like, and then it's ding 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 ding, and it just immediately I felt something in that first moment. I was like, what's happening? You know, and it was so mysterious. So yeah, that gets me. That gets me every time. So the next question is actually somewhat related to the trailer. So we'll kind of do them together. Let's actually talk about the trailer. So the trailer that Brady shared with us is actually a trailer for Ace Combat 7, Skies Unknown. And the question that Brady asked was, have you ever played any of the Ace Combat games? If yes, impressions, thoughts. If no, play them. And then he tells us which ones, 4, 5, 0, and 7.
So I guess they also have a 0th game, like we have a 0th episode.
Hey man, you know, we didn't even know. We're just following greats. The greats.
Yeah.
Just do what the
He also put a heart in there.
Formula, baby.
Yeah, we can't ignore the heart.
The heart. That's very important question. So
yeah, I assumed that was less than 3, so that's 1, 2, 4, 0, 7.
So I guess just straight out, have any of you guys played the Ace Combat games?
Never.
No,
barely heard of them.
So okay, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I will say that this trailer has me interested, though. It looks cool.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask. So, what did the trailer? How did y'all feel about the trailer, and like, what did you think the game?
The trailer was so surprising because it felt like a modern, like, dogfight airplane game with a story of of Fire Emblem. Like, it felt extremely Japanese, but also extremely American at the same time.
It was epic, yeah.
It's almost like a Kojima kind of experience.
Yeah. I could see that, yeah.
Yeah, somebody once said it's like the anime of dogfighting. Like, it has these deep, like, it makes me think of, what's the anime with Lelouch in it?
Lelouch? Oh, you're thinking of
Code Geass. Code Geass. Like this epic like storyline with all these characters to have like deep conversations sometimes, and like there's these you know, intertwined storylines, and yeah, there's this joke that like Ace Combat has the most complex and serious story for like the most like you said, American game of just like dogfighting. It's like, Kazuhiko, what is the meaning of life? Why do we fly these jets? Where are we going? What's the meaning of war and conflict?
Yeah, I mean, the trailer says something about like, what path will you take when you look in Harling's mirror? And I'm like, what is is that like a Greek philosophy? Like, what is going on? Just like I said, it feels very Kojima, which I guess is just my weak mind's way of saying it's very Japanese.
It's very Kojima. Yeah,
clearly there are others like him.
And these cutscenes that are so epic looking, and like,
yeah, there's a giant fighter jet with missiles and stuff, and I guess smaller fighter jets that at some point creates like a force field around it to catch missiles, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, some of it's legitimately ridiculous, and I want to know more.
It really feels like a Capcom game to me. Like, it's just, you know, just unnecessary. Just like it takes itself so serious, but also like there's no way that you could take it serious. You know?
Yeah. Also, it if it's not clear to anybody here, the graphics are pretty good.
Yeah, like borderline.
Like, it looks good. It's definitely stylized. Maybe last 5 or 10 years technology in like the human models, but it looks like a slightly older Final Fantasy game.
It's a very good looking
but game. Like the graphics overall are very good. This is not like Star Fox, you know, shooters or dogfighting.
Yeah,
there's a little bit of dissonance in the content and the visuals.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was trying to get across. It looks weird for what it is. Extremely weird.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Metal Gear Phantom Pain, like that level of graphics, like very well done, very like that. It has that same like filter, like
lots of cutscenes.
Yeah, and like the characters look kind of smooth but gruff, and it's
generous dirt on their faces.
Like that clearly was baked on.
It was a meaty trailer. Like I didn't expect. To get
it's
that
a pretty
much
good trailer.
Yeah.
I'm actually really impressed.
I have to watch it again. Actually,
I just watched it again. I just let it play.
Hey,
like I have played an Ace Combat game, but when I played it, I'm pretty sure I played it at Rob's house, who we know. Shout out to Rob. And when I played it, I don't think we were really paying attention to the story, but man, the dog fighting is so intense, yo. Like I just remember having like a one-on-one fight with this jet for like 15 minutes straight. Like, and you're just wheeling and like turning and like crazy. Like it's so intense. And then you have these missions like in it, like, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. And there's also like fighting happening around you. It felt so intense and fun. It's just, I'm surprised that I've never played the game outside of that. Cause I had so much fun.
Was the combat when you were controlling it? Do you remember if it was pretty arcadey or like how did it feel?
Did you feel like you were a fighter pilot?
Like it definitely felt arcadey in the sense that like it wasn't a simulator, you know?
Okay.
But like if I were to put it on a scale, I'd put it between like Star Fox Assault or what's it called? Assault, right? Star Fox Assault and like Microsoft Flight Simulator. Where it's like
right in the middle.
Like it feels kind of real-ish.
Is it like flying a plane in GTA?
Not as bad. Like it doesn't feel that unwieldy, but it definitely feels like I can see it's like one of those it's like the Nintendo formula, like easy to like get going or whatever, but like hard to master, you know? At least that's how I recall it. I mean, this was a long time ago. But it felt good. Like it felt arcadey, but not
not over the top. Yeah.
You know.
You were like pressing a button to do a quick barrel roll or something.
Yeah. Once again, it's a long time ago when I played it, so it's just me recalling deep memories in the recess of my mind. But yeah, I mean, I would play it. You know, you got my interest peaked, Sir Brady. Sir Nice Guy Brady.
Same.
Yeah, you know, it seems like none of us really played it, but it definitely feels like an intense anime.
Very
dogfighting.
Fire Emblem, you know, Final Fantasy, Phantom Pain, all those stories mixed together. That's what it looked like.
I think the reason why I haven't played it is because I had assumptions about it. Like if you just look, I guess, at the marketing material, it just shows off the really pretty graphics. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, because I've played Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I don't really want to try to shoot at something while flying one of these slow planes. But that's not the game. And so it's a positive surprise. Pleasant surprise. And I've also played, because I like simulation games, but I don't really feel like playing them as of late. Like I played like Farming Simulator and Truck Simulator and Zoo Tycoon and all that stuff. So I like simulation games, but part of the reason why I avoid this one is because I thought it was a simulation.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Forza of the Skies.
Yeah.
You know? Or Gran Turismo with a jet. But I think similarly to Forza does have an ability of making it feel a little arcadey at times. But I can't, once again, this is a long time ago, so I don't want to speak too well. Sir Brady.
I'm into it. I would be willing to play it, especially if you guys play it.
Yeah, I'd be down. I mean,
we got to see if it has multiplayer now.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Oh, I don't know about that. I want to experience the story on my own terms.
On my own terms.
He's like, on my own terms.
I'm gonna try to join your lobby.
This is a meaty story.
I was looking into Hiko's mirror, and I'm determined that I want to experience this on my own terms. No, senpai.
Kiesha comes in. I quickly pause it and go to something else.
Take your aviators off.
Yeah.
What do you want, woman?
So, I mean, I don't know. This sounds like a game that might actually find its way on the docket for an episode if we can figure it out. But yeah, I'm actually interested, genuinely interested. So, good stuff. All right, so let's get to our final set of questions and trailers. You know what, Steve? I will let you introduce the next person.
Sounds great. So you remember when I was talking about this Nimrod who is complaining about how Marvel comics aren't as good. They're just not well written. You remember that story?
Calling him out.
This is that guy.
This is him. It is he.
This man's name is Finn. He put his last name, but I'm gonna not put it. I want to give him some, semblance of anonymity. But I mean, how many people do you know named Finn? His name's Finn, and his question is, what gives you the right? Let me tell you what gives me the right, okay?
Great question.
I'm just better than you. You have poor taste. You try to convince me that Episode 8 was a good Star Wars movie? Come on, guy. No, in all seriousness, nothing gives me the right. I'm just talking out of the side of my head. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I think that question is the heart of our podcast. What gives?
I think that question was specifically designed to make me upset.
But when I read it,
personally,
I thought it was an Office reference.
He knows I haven't seen The Office.
Oh, so I guess
what gives me the right, indeed, if I haven't seen The Office? Maybe that's what he really wants me to take away from this.
What gives you the right?
What gives you the right? I mean, honestly, we don't even know, son. We're just out here talking. Honestly, these are conversations we have not on the microphone.
Yeah,
like
true.
Yes, it's much more structured, and we try to stick to a timeline, barely, and ask more provocative. Well, actually, I feel like our conversations off of the podcast are a bit more provocative than what
they're more unhinged,
much more unhinged, and we're also aware that we're likely not to like. I think we're slowly growing into the idea of saying the realest thing we can think of. Like, I personally still have the fear that I'll say something that'll be misconstrued.
Yeah, me too.
Like you have to get to know me. So y'all are getting to know us over the course of 50 episodes. So by the time we get to 100 and we start talking more recklessly and freewheeling and having more jokes that are of a broader spectrum, you'll understand where it comes from, right?
The restraints are coming off.
By the time we get to 100 episodes, one of us is going to have kids, probably.
Maybe. Hopefully.
That's like 2 years away.
I actually was going to mention that in the 1 to 5, like how if any of us or all of us have kids, how will that impact it? But I was like, you know what? Like, if this is still protected time, we might still be able to, hey, babe, can you watch little one for a little bit?
I don't know, man. You might hear a lot of squalling behind me.
Worth it.
And you're just going to have to live with
squirming.
it. Yeah. No, not squirming. Squalling. Screaming. Complaining. Pooping.
We'll find a way.
You will hear the pooping.
I mean,
he's going to get a Tamagotchi.
I think what Steve is saying is that when he works from home, he just does not, his child will be in the background just crying. Just he's like, hey, I'm sorry. This is just what it is. I'm a kid now. You just have to deal with it.
I just look the kid in the eye and I'm like, stop it. Hold it in. That's what good fathers do, right?
Yes. Hold that poop in.
There's no manual.
But I got this belt.
I know this is an aside, but I just got a notification from my email. Frontier Airlines is telling me they have a 4-hour flash sale. Nice. Which is horrifying. Wait. I can't imagine them being any cheaper.
Bro, let me tell you something. I have been a recipient of that flash sale. I've bought...
Are they going to strap me down on the outside of the fuselage?
What do you think is the cheapest ticket I've ever bought on Frontier? What do y'all think?
You sit in the bathroom the whole time?
In the bathroom. People just have to pee
They still have to use
That's
it.
That's a pee around
in between
you.
my legs. Like, how much you say?
$25.
What about you, Kyle? What do you think?
We're guessing how cheap you paid?
Yeah, cheapest ticket
Yeah,
ever.
cheapest ticket he's bought.
Ooh, $13.50.
This man can't
Golly,
get
what is
half.
this, Greyhound? Yeah, y'all would go
It's
for
Frontier,
it.
baby.
I would say Steve was the closest. It was 20 one way. No, 15. Actually, y'all are pretty close. 15 or 20.
Hey, I was closest without going
Yeah.
over.
Kyle's
Yeah, I guess
closest.
Kyle. 15 or 20 one way. To
Bro, that
Atlanta.
is a bus ticket, like legitimately.
Yeah. So I've gotten really cheap tickets. It's all about destination, timing, catching it, and where you're coming from. So
I'm actually flying to New Orleans this weekend. I think it's $60.
Usually
I
pretty
forget if it's round or.
might be round trip,
yeah.
30-30. Let's go, baby. Megabus
Hey,
costs
yo.
more than that.
Bro, I should have just taken Megabus, though.
Not that thing.
I'll get there safer.
You'll get
Maybe.
there. It's just, how many pieces? Yeah, so that's what gives us the right. That's it. Everything we just said is
What gives you the right, Kyle?
Everything we just said.
Okay.
We have full liberty because of all that was recently disclosed.
yeah. America.
Very well.
Speaking
America.
Of America, let's talk about the trailer he shared with us, which is
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, what gives you the right
to share this trash with us. The trailer for Puffy Amiyumi, which used to be
Hi, Puffy.
Amiyumi, that used to be on Cartoon Network. Which honestly, I'm gonna be super real with y'all. This is one of those shows that I remember. But if somebody came up to me and said, and I said to them, "Oh, you remember Hi Puffy Amiyumi?" And they said, "Bro, that never existed." I'd be like, you know what? I might have honestly made that up.
Yeah.
You'd be convinced.
Yeah, I'd be easily convinced. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm thinking of other things and combining, I don't know, random shows I've seen in Japan or something. Yeah, this show existed. Y'all remember this?
I don't remember it. I remember the
this
trailer. I think this was my pre-cable days, so I didn't have much access to Cartoon Network. But I remember seeing trailers for it and being like, "This looks lame. It's not a cartoon. It's about two real women.
Right.
How fun can it be?"
The cartoon intro. There was cartoon segments, but it was a very misleading type of show. The intro was a whole lot more fun than the actual show, if I remember correctly. I would still watch it because it was on TV. Their music was pretty good.
The music was actually pretty good. I remember that.
Was it good?
Yeah, they were a legitimate band. They were solidly,
they were real.
Solidly good.
Oh, okay.
I got introduced to their music because they had a song in the Teen Titans anime, if you want to call it an anime.
Oh, wait. The original Teen Titans or the goofy Teen Titans?
The original.
The original.
And it's funny because I was actually going to say,
Good for them.
whenever I think of them, I just immediately think of Teen Titans, not them. For whatever reason.
I gotta find that song.
It was at least one song. So it's the Mad Mod episode, Revolution or something like that. But yeah, it's it plays their entire song while they're chasing him through this weird multi-dimensional labyrinth or something. It's wild and it's occupying space rent-free in my brain.
No, they made the title. Didn't they make the title theme music?
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, totally missed that. You're right. Yeah, that's them too.
I think that's them.
Really? Oh, wow.
That makes more sense than...
No wonder they had a show on Cartoon Network. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. I think they were...
Good for
I'm pretty
them.
sure that's them. I might be wrong.
I'm pretty sure you're right.
And
It has to be them.
yeah, I mean, to be dead honest, I can't remember nothing about that show, son. I know I've seen it.
I honestly half wonder if Finn sent this to us again just to troll
Just
me.
to troll you.
It's working.
It's working.
It is.
He's 2 for 2.
I don't even know. Did it have a real season?
Was this one of those shows that just existed between other shows?
Oh, a
in the
bumper show.
commercials?
I think it was an actual show, but I'm actually looking right now on YouTube to see if I can find an episode. and I'm just really...
There are no results for your search.
I'm very confused. Like...
Where'd he even find this trailer to send to?
I mean, it is called Hi Puffy Yumi trailer.
He uploaded it himself.
He probably Googled something.
He probably uploaded it.
I assume he Googled like weird anime girl trailer on Cartoon Network in the 90s.
Well played, Finn.
Yeah, looking at the episodes, it looks like they were actually cartoon episodes that just started with a live intro with Puffy Yumi.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so it was the opposite.
And it's I guess the premise is that it's the two girls move to the U.S. to play in or something.
Yeah, I remember the weird, like there's a character with a scraggly beard. Like I'm just skipping through the episodes. Like I recall some of this. It all feels like a dream. Like this all feels surreal. Wow.
Well, I thought they had more than one season, right?
I don't know, man.
There's no way.
It feels like one of those things that just went quietly into the dark. Like it just slowly, like they didn't even like announce that it was gone. It just, that never happened.
It was in their contract somewhere. They had to give them a show.
Don't worry about that.
6 episodes. That's it.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
It seems like everyone in the comments has nothing but love for it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
they were a great band.
They were good. Their music was
good.
This person says, "I was 1 when it first aired." Good lord,
you remember that?
See? It was the first thing I saw.
That's a core memory.
Yeah, core memory.
When there's trouble, you.
Well,
it was made in Flash.
That makes sense.
Someone claims it was made in Flash.
I don't know if that's disrespectful or like.
No, it's probably true. Like all those,
it's probably true.
All those shows were made in Flash.
It might be true, but for some reason, I just keep thinking of like.
It's because there's so much trash. It's like saying your game was made in Unity.
Yes. It was originally published on Newgrounds.com. Like that's what it feels like.
Albino black sheep.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, all right.
Bro.
Man.
Flash is taking over though. It's called Adobe Animate now. It's not even Flash anymore. Flash is gone.
Yeah, they've completely.
Flash is dead. Long live Flash.
Oh man, sorry, Finn. Thank you for bringing me back to a memory that was just locked. Just like your brain throws away things that aren't meaningful or helpful to you in your life.
It pretends to throw them away, and then you remember they're still there. It's like, at times like this.
They're like, oh yeah, actually, it's like in different types of memory, like.
Oh yeah,
it's like frozen in like long-term memory in a way that can't be accessed unless you do deep. You have to unarchive it. That's what it feels like. It's archived.
You have to go the Total Recall route.
Oh man,
deep in there.
So
yeah, thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing. Thanks for being a fan. What gives you the right to listen to our podcast?
Finn actually just made a little review. It wasn't a real review. He just posted on Facebook about how he liked the new, I think it was the Lord of the Rings show. There's 2 new shows that came out recently. And I was like, I don't know if I can trust you. And he's like, no, I'm not being sarcastic. I really like it. I was like, that's not what I meant.
now I'm concerned. That's what you said.
It was not my concern.
I might not like this show. Hilarious. But hey, he likes us, so he has good
his taste. Is
man.
Obviously flawed.
His taste is obviously
flawed. He has bad taste in friends.
Well, check this out. Thank you, everybody, for listening. To 50 plus 1 episodes of the Super Agile Bros. Like that question of did you ever imagine getting to the 50th episode 5 to years ago or something? No, absolutely not. We didn't have a plan. We just were going. I think there's probably even moments in our heads where we're probably like, yeah, I don't know. Like I somewhere in the middle where it was just like, are we gonna keep doing this? And
on top of the 50 episodes, that's nearly like 100 hours of recording too.
Yes, wait.
That's definitely more than 100 hours, I think.
Definitely more than 100, right? Like we have 2-hour episodes.
Well, it's 51 episodes, so
they're not all 2 hours though.
A lot of them are pretty long,
Yeah.
All right, let's say it's 75. Let's say it's 80 hours.
I don't know. We could
to
probably,
be
I don't know either.
conservative.
That's why I
we could
said
probably
near
see it on
enough.
SoundCloud if we look, maybe total hours. But
You guys and your numbers.
math. But really, those, number one, thank you to everybody who's been listening. For our new fans who were maybe this is their first episode listening, we really appreciate you listening. Like, this is kind of overflow of who we are. This is a true friendship. Like, there's nothing, we're not like,
Friendship.
we don't have a script. We just throw some stuff at the wall and we see what happens. So everything you're seeing is basically the nature of our relationship with each other. A little less reckless, but we're getting there. So we appreciate y'all like just listening into our friendship, listening to the Super Agile Bros. Thank you for listening from the beginning. If you've been there from day 0, literally episode 0, thank you so much. You are OG. We don't have swag. We don't have anything cool, but know that you have our hearts and that we appreciate everything you've done. Please, if you haven't, please continue to share Super Agile Bros with your friends, people who you think will actually like get something out of it. We're not here to make money. We're not here to have fans. We're here to just create community and have some great conversations. For those who are our fans, if there's something you could do that would actually help us, like review our show, like either on Apple Podcasts or Facebook.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Because I feel that helps people know if this is the right show for them. So definitely not going to spam you to do it. We're just going to ask politely, hey, go on Facebook and leave a review for our podcast. We'd greatly appreciate it. Or go on Apple Podcasts if you listen there and leave a review. Maybe the other platforms have that ability, but those are the only two I know.
You can on
I know for YouTube,
SoundCloud.
we're not like a thing on YouTube, so the most you can do is subscribe and like watch or like or stuff
Subscribe,
like
leave a
that.
comment. And what did you say, Kyle?
So you can review on SoundCloud too. I think you said Spotify? Which one?
Yes, I said Apple Podcasts and Facebook, but
Wherever you listen and one place you don't listen, review us there.
yes. And you'll get entered into a raffle to receive absolutely nothing. So thank you.
You'll get the first mint of Super Agile Boys.
You'll get the first.
No.
Guaranteed to go down in value. Guaranteed.
That's
Guaranteed.
Super Agile NFTs.
NFTs
coming soon.
Coming soon. You know what? We'll mint one of our title cards for our YouTube episodes and give it to you. We'll give you a. You let us.
We have to find some way to like make more use of those thumbnails because Kyle makes them so
and they're
good.
so good, man.
They're so underutilized on YouTube.
Honestly, the title cards are better than our episodes. So
I know.
False. Thanks.
you know what we could do? We could put a gallery maybe up in our Discord and maybe on our Facebook or something.
If we had a website, we could just post them on the website.
Yeah, we'll
No context.
We know that's something y'all are clamoring for, so we're definitely going to do it. We're going to invest a lot of time in that instead of making better episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Priorities.
So, but really, so thank you for listening. Of course, thank you to the brother Kyle. Thank you for being on the ride for 50 plus 1 episodes. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Glad it's been 50 years that we've had. I'm looking forward to another 50 years of podcasts.
Let's go, baby.
Gosh, I feel old.
Let's go, baby. And of course, brother Steve, thank you for being a part of this journey. 50 plus 1. Thank you, sir.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
And with that, this will be our final episode.
Sorry.
You ruined everything.
You ruined it.
Finn was right.
Our streak.
We're going to delete all our episodes right now.
I'll give you the right.
And of course, I'm just thankful to be here. Thank you to all the fans. Of course, if you don't know where to listen to us, we're everywhere. We're on YouTube. I guess we're not technically
everywhere.
on Facebook. But we're on Facebook. We're on Spotify. We're on SoundCloud. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on I already said Spotify. Google Podcasts. We're on Stitcher. Listen to
behind
us.
you.
We're on
are
the radio.
there. Super Agile Bros. You'll find us. So thank you to our Super Agile family. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. To 50 more episodes and many more to come. Y'all take it easy. Until next time. Peace.